Hey guys, welcome back. It's James Bennett. I hope you've been following me. You might have noticed over the last couple of weeks we've been dropping many videos on how to become a successful property investor. Now in today's video we're going to look at the next step in the process, and that is how to arrange your finances in order to fund your next future property investment deal. For those of you that are new to my channel, I'm James Bennett, the property coach, and it's my mission to bring you up to speed on all things property investing with daily hints and tips on all things property related. Now, in the previous videos, we looked at how to set up a property business, what investment method could suit you the best, how to calculate property deals quickly and effectively. Then in the last video, our latest one, we looked at ways in how to create a business plan to move forward in our property investing venture. Now, don't worry if you've missed any of my previous videos. I'm going to be dropping all the links in the description below, or just drop onto my YouTube page and you'll be able to find all of the videos there, so you can catch up and you can get up to speed with everything what we're talking about. So back to today's video. For a start, what are finances? Well, basically finances, simply put, is just the money you're going to use to invest into property deals in the future. Now, as you know, some property investing methods involve a lot more money than others. Most of you should have access, or at least be able to get a hold of the money to do a rent-to-rent deal, because these deals involve smaller amounts of money. But if you're looking at doing, say, buy-to-let property investing, or you want to do some flips, or you even want to undertake the buy, refurbishment and refinance strategy, you're going to need to get hold of some serious clumps of cash. So today I'm going to look at the different ways in order for you to do this. Now, one of the easiest ways of obtaining finance is to turn to your existing property, the house what you're living in. If you've got a mortgage or you've paid your mortgage off, your house could have increased in value over the years dramatically. So there could be a lot of equity basically tied up in the property what you're in at the moment, and all you need to do is release some of that equity to then use on your property investing journey. Now, there's a couple of ways what you can do this. You can go to your mortgage broker and you can remortgage your property, or you can take out a second charge on the property, which is just like a loan secured against the value of your house pretty much. They're both great ways in starting your property investing journey, because if you go into a normal mortgage lender or a broker or bridging finance, they're going to be a lot more expensive than releasing the equity out of your house. So if you've got equity in your house, it's always a perfect way to start. Now, don't forget to talk to your wife or your husband or something before you go into doing this, because ultimately it could add extra years onto your mortgage before your mortgage is paid off, and it can also increase your debt with the lender. So have a chat with the other half, make sure it's okay. But don't worry anyway. It may seem daunting about taking money out of your house and adding years onto your mortgage, etc. But if you know your numbers and you're confident in what you're doing, it's definitely the best way to start in your journey. The money you release from your property can instantly start growing again in another appreciating asset. Now, properties are increasing. They increase in value over time, basically. It's not like releasing money and go and buy a car, it's going to drop down in money. We're talking about properties here. So you release money out of your house, you invest it into another property, which then becomes an appreciating asset. So it's just something that is going to go up in value. And also what it can do is make you a lovely little monthly profit as well as on the side. So it's the perfect scenario, really. Now, there are other ways to go out there and get hold of money as well. You can look for a loan from a family member, or a family member such as one of your parents might be in a house what they've paid off the mortgage years ago. They could even release a little bit of equity for you to use in your property investing journey. Now, the best way to approach a family member is to ask whether or not they would like to do it alongside you, such as a joint venture, so you can both reap the rewards together. What you want to do, you want to put together a little investment pack, show them your chosen method of investing into property, and then come up with the deals, what you've chosen. Start looking at the potential deals together and highlight the profits that can be made along this little journey with yourself. Either a straightforward buy to let, netting you a nice steady monthly income, or a flip that can instantly make large sums of money along the way. So check out how much it involves to renovate, check comparable sold by prices, reaffirm them, show them that you've put a pack together and you know what you're talking about. Now, this can be a great way of getting started as well. And remember, if you don't ask, you're never going to know. So don't be afraid to approach a family member. Maybe you've got a wealthy uncle or your father or your mum or something like that. This is always going to be a cheaper way than using traditional money lending routes. So don't shy away from it. You need to exhaust all your options. If you're looking to get into property investing, do not let hurdles stand in your way. You've got to take action. You've got to get out of that comfort zone and start doing things. Now, if it involves asking people to joint venture with you or to get involved with you along your property investing journey, put together an action plan, present it to them, show them the possibilities, and no doubt 9 times out of 10 this is going to serve you very well. Now, if all of this fails, if you haven't got anybody to turn to maybe lend money, if you don't have a house, you can't release any equity, then we've got the traditional method, which is simply going to take out a buy-to-let mortgage. Now, very popular in the UK, and it is amongst the most common ways to get into property investing. The criteria to getting a buy-to-let mortgage can differ on individual circumstances, but generally it goes along these lines. Lenders are going to want a 25% deposit on the property. They'll also want the rent, what you charge on the property, to easily cover the repayment charges on the mortgage. They'll also want you to be able to prove that you can afford the repayments yourself. If you don't have any rent coming in, just say there's a void period, no one's in the property or something like that. The benefits of a buy-to-let mortgage are, they are very widely available. The rates can be really good. You can also benefit from interest-only repayments. So you're only paying off the interest. You're not depreciating the loan, you're just paying off the interest. But over time, the loan will gradually decrease anyway due to inflation. But that's another topic altogether. There are loads of products out there. There's like hundreds of buy-to-let mortgage products available on the market. They can also be free of any setup charges. So you might not even have to pay nothing to the lender initially to get this mortgage up and running. You can also fix the rates of the mortgage for long periods of time. This is a great way to leverage your cash. So you're basically putting in, say, £25,000 into a £100,000 house, and that £100,000 house is only going to increase in value a lot quicker than your £25,000 cash would if it was sitting in the bank, and it's also going to produce you a nice little monthly income. So there is another method as well, and this method is called bridging finance. Now, a lot of you might have heard horror stories about bridging finance, but over the years it has become ever more popular. There are more and more lenders coming to the market, and they've now also made it more affordable as well. So it doesn't work. It's very similar to a traditional buy-to-let mortgage in that you still need a 25% deposit, but a bridging loan can be a lot more flexible than a buy-to-let mortgage, as they'll often lend money towards the project what needs a lot more work, where a normal mortgage wouldn't be suitable. So if you found a property and it's quite run down, the kitchen and the bathroom are in a bad state, the buy-to-let mortgage company are not going to let you take out a mortgage on a property like this, because they're going to say the property is not habitable. This is where a bridging loan comes in. You need to use bridging finance in order to purchase a property or cash what's in a bad state of repair. And these houses are normally really good for flips, and you can make a good bit of money doing properties in this way. So if you're considering flipping or using the buy, refurbish and refinance method, and you don't have the capital to buy the property outright in the first place, this can be a great lending method for you to have. They'll even sometimes lend you money to complete the refurbishment as well. So if you purchased the house for 100,000 and it needs £20,000 spending on it, a bridging loan can lend you the money for the house and also to get the work completed at the end of it as well. So bridging loans are a lot more flexible than buy-to-let mortgages. Also, if you're looking to buy a property, say from an auction, if you've been sitting at home watching Homes Under the Hammer and you think, oh, I'd like to have a go at that, this is where bridging loans come into their own as well, because when you purchase a property from an auction, you only have like 28 days, 30 days to complete the actual transaction, and unless you've got cash sitting in the bank, you can't go to a buy-to-let mortgage broker, because when you're setting up a buy-to-let mortgage, they take a lot longer than 30 days for you to get the cash in your bank. But a bridging loan, you can have the money in your bank very quickly. So if you're looking at a property from an auction, bridging loan is also a very suitable way of acquiring finance for that kind of deal. They're a lot quicker to set up than traditional mortgages, basically. Now, another thing as well with bridging loans, if you've got, say, bad credit history, or your current income doesn't really meet the criteria of a buy-to-let mortgage, then bridging loans can be a bit more flexible in this kind of area as well. So if you've got bad history, you can't get a buy-to-let mortgage, you might want to start looking at bridging loans and things like that. But what are the negatives of bridging loans? They can be a lot more expensive than a typical mortgage, as they calculate repayments based on a monthly percentage rather than a yearly percentage, what buy-to-let mortgages do. So repayments can typically be 3 times the amount of what a standard buy-to-let mortgage would be on a month-by-month basis. Sometimes there are a lot of hidden charges as well with bridging loans. You can get stung whilst you're entering into the product. Sometimes there's high product fees. Also, when you're exiting the product, sometimes there's some hidden charges. So make sure you do your homework if you are thinking about doing a bridging loan. Now, bridging loans are only designed for short-term financing methods. A buy-to-let mortgage, you would use that for years to come, but a bridging loan, you're only going to use for months at a time. Say maximum of like 12 months, but really you want to be using a bridging loan for around about 6 months kind of thing. Now, this is where you need to be really confident on the outcome of a deal. So if you bought a property and you know it needs work, you need to be confident that you can get in there, bish bash bosh, get that job done and get off that bridging loan onto a more traditional lending route. Otherwise it can start costing you quite a lot of money. So I definitely wouldn't advise bridging loans for beginners unless it's a last resort or you've really done your homework, so you've done your due diligence on the property and you've double checked it, you've stress tested the deal and you know exactly what you're doing. It's also good to have multiple exits in place as well if you're going to be using a bridging loan. Always have a good chat with a broker for more information on bridging loans. Another thing, guys, drop your comments below in the description what you guys think about bridging finance. Have you heard anything about bridging finance? Do you know anything about it? Have you used bridging finance? Please drop your comments in the links below and we can have a chat about it. I can also recommend you some really good brokers if you're looking to use bridging finance as well. Now, what other methods can we use to invest in property? You've got investor financing and also angel investors. These are basically people who are going to put money into a deal with you and either do it on a split return kind of basis or a joint venture, etc. You might not necessarily know who the investors are. You might not know the angel investor. Let's put it simply. It's a principle of finding an investor, presenting them with a good deal, and then providing the cash for you to undertake the deal. As you grow, this is certainly a great thing to have in your toolbox, because when you grow, ultimately you're probably going to use a lot of your money in deals, and you're going to need to be accumulating more deals from other people in order to grow your portfolio at a rapid rate. Now, there's a few different options when you're trying to get investors on board. First of all, it's good to have some sort of a track record to prove to them that you mean business and you know what you're doing, or have the real clear ability to show that your due diligence and your homework is really watertight on that deal. An investor will want to see a good deal that has multiple exit strategies and a clear conclusion at the end of the project. So, like I said, you want to have watertight due diligence in place before you start approaching different investors or angel financing people to try and fund your deals. It's very similar to the option what we looked at earlier on when you're approaching a family member, but this time it's more of a business arrangement. The investor will also want to have a first or a second charge on the property, just for security purposes. So basically they'll be named on the property, so if everything goes tits up, they've got the security and they can still take back a piece of that property. So the platforms for advertising these deals for this type of investment you're looking at are such things like crowdfunding websites. It's basically where you post, a bit like you post on social media, but you're posting a project onto a platform for other investors to have a look at. You'll have to put all the details of the deal in there. You need to include pictures, descriptions and everything, and basically these investors will look at these deals and they'll think whether or not it's a good deal for them to invest in. Now, either one investor will go, right, I'll put all the money in to invest in that deal, or a few investors might pitch in the money together to invest in the deal with you. I don't know whether you've ever watched Dragon's Den, but this is a very similar principle. You pitch in the product, what you've got to offer, out to investors in the hope that they're going to invest in you, and they're going to be investing in you just as much as the deal. So make sure you present the deal properly. Now, I could go on about all these individual methods for hours on end, but each method is going to require its own little video if I'm looking to go really more in depth into these videos. Now, if there's a particular subject or method what you want me to go more into detail, like I said before, drop your comments in the display below and I'll produce a video for whichever strategy or method you want more information about, basically. So you pretty much know all there is to know now about raising finances. It's down to you to go out there and execute what you have learnt. This is just a summary of the methods and the strategies what are out there in order to raise finances. I've had to keep it brief, I've had to keep it quite simple, otherwise this video would quite frankly go on for hours. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for all future videos what I'm going to be dropping on a daily basis on all things property investing, hints and tips. Now, I've been James Bennett, and thanks ever so much for watching my video, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.